You had the opportunity. You knew what to do. You were ready. And then you didn't do it. Maybe it was a job application you never submitted, a business idea you never started, a relationship you pushed away for no real reason, a dream you convinced yourself was not realistic. Here's what nobody told you. This is not a character flaw. This is not laziness. This is not weakness. This is your brain, literally working against your own success. And it has a name. It's called self-sabotage. And today, we're going to break it down completely. What it is, why it happens at a neurological level, and most importantly, how to stop it using real, research-backed psychology. Welcome to Soul Fuel, the channel where psychology meets real life. I'm so glad you're here. And if you stay until the end of this video, I promise, something is going to shift for you today. Let's get into it. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is self-sabotage? In psychology, self-sabotage refers to behaviors, thoughts, and patterns that actively work against your own goals and best interests. In simple words, you are the one getting in your own way. Now here's the part that blows most people's minds. Self-sabotage is rarely conscious. You're not sitting there thinking, let me destroy my own life today. No, it happens underneath the surface, quietly, automatically, and repeatedly. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that self-handicapping, one of the most common forms of self-sabotage, affects roughly 20 to 25% of adults regularly. That's 1 in 4 people. And research from the American Psychological Association confirms that procrastination, another major form, affects around 20% of adults chronically, not occasionally, chronically. So if you felt stuck in life, you are not alone, not even close. And there is a very real, very scientific reason this is happening to you. To understand self-sabotage, we need to take a quick trip inside your brain. Don't worry, I'll make this simple. Deep inside your brain, there's a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is your brain's emotional alarm system. Its entire job is to scan your environment for threats and keep you safe. Now, here's the problem. Your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a physical threat like a lion chasing you and a psychological threat like applying for a job, starting a business, or telling someone you love them. To the amygdala, they feel the same. Both trigger the same fear response. Both send the signal, danger, stop, go back to safety. And your brain, being the brilliant survival machine it is, obeys that signal. You retreat, you procrastinate, you self-sabotage, not because you're weak, but because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Here's another piece of the puzzle. Neuroscience research shows us that the brain has one deep, powerful preference above almost everything else: predictability. Your brain would rather have a familiar pain than an unfamiliar joy. Read that again. A familiar pain, rather than an unfamiliar joy. This is why people stay in toxic relationships. This is why people stay in jobs they hate. This is why people keep repeating the same mistakes. Because familiar, even when it hurts, feels safe to the brain. And when you try to change, when you try to grow, evolve, or reach for something better, your brain sees that as a threat because it's unknown, and unknown equals danger. Now let me introduce you to a concept called the amygdala hijack, a term coined by psychologist Daniel Goleman in his groundbreaking book, Emotional Intelligence. An amygdala hijack happens when your emotional brain completely overrides your rational brain. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, planning, and decision-making, gets temporarily shut down. So in moments of fear or stress, you literally cannot think clearly. Your rational self knows what to do, but your emotional brain is screaming louder. And in that moment, fear wins. This is the neuroscience of self-sabotage. It's not a character flaw, it's a hijacking. Okay, so now let's get personal. How do you know if you're actually self-sabotaging? Here are 7 signs, and I want you to be honest with yourself as we go through these. The first sign is chronic procrastination. But I want to be very specific here, because there's a difference between being tired and putting something off, and systematically avoiding things that actually matter to you. In psychology, this is called self-handicapping. You create obstacles, or simply don't start, so that if you fail, you have a built-in excuse. I didn't really try. But here's the dark truth. Not trying is the failure. Sign number 2, perfectionism. And I need to challenge a very common belief here. Perfectionism is not a strength. Perfectionism is fear wearing a productive costume. When you say I'll start when everything is perfect, what you're really saying is, I'm scared of being judged, so I won't start at all. Research by Dr. Brené Brown consistently shows that perfectionism is strongly correlated with depression, anxiety, and missed opportunities. Third sign, you destroy good relationships. Things are going well, the relationship is healthy, loving, and stable, and you pick a fight, pull away, or do something that damages it. This comes directly from attachment theory, developed by psychologist John Bowlby. If you grew up in an environment where love was conditional, inconsistent, or painful, your brain learned that intimacy equals danger. So when real love shows up, your brain runs. Sign 4, your inner voice is your worst critic. I'm not smart enough. I don't deserve this. People like me don't succeed. These aren't just negative thoughts. In CBT, these are called cognitive distortions. They're automatic, deeply ingrained thought patterns, often formed in childhood, that feel like facts but are actually lies your brain has been repeating on loop, and every time you believe them, you act on them. Sign 5, you are addicted to your comfort zone. Opportunity arrives, and you find a reason to say no. Change is coming, and you find a way to stay still. Growth requires risk, and you choose the familiar cage over the unknown freedom. Neuroscience tells us this is your brain's default mode network protecting what it knows. But what protected you once is now keeping you small. Sign 6, imposter syndrome. You've achieved something real, a promotion, a degree, a compliment from someone you respect, and your immediate thought is, they're going to find out I'm a fraud. Studies show that up to 70% of people experience imposter syndrome at some point. But for self-sabotagers, it becomes a reason to hold back, underperform intentionally, or not apply for opportunities at all. And sign 7, and this one is heartbreaking. You give up right before things get good. You quit the diet on day 29. You stop the business right before it gains traction. You end the relationship just as it was getting deep. This is the brain's fear of success, which we'll talk about in just a moment. The closer you get to what you actually want, the louder the alarm bells ring, and many people run. Now we need to go deeper. Because understanding the signs isn't enough. We need to understand where self-sabotage actually comes from. Because it didn't start yesterday. The single biggest root cause of self-sabotage is childhood conditioning. The messages you received as a child, from parents, teachers, siblings, society, became the foundation of your self-belief. If you heard, "You'll never be good enough," or "Don't get too big for your boots," or "If love was only given when you performed," you learned that success brings expectations, and expectations bring pain, and your brain decided, let's not risk that. These aren't just memories. These are neural pathways, literally wired into your brain, and they fire automatically every time you approach something that could mean growth or change. Related to this is unresolved trauma. And I want to be clear, trauma doesn't always mean a single dramatic event. Sometimes trauma is the accumulation of years of criticism, neglect, instability, or feeling unseen. Dr. Bessel Kolk, in his landmark book, The Body Keeps the Score, explains that trauma literally rewires the brain's threat detection system. Traumatized brains see danger and safety. They self-sabotage because staying small feels like the only way to stay safe. Third root cause is low self-worth. Psychology has something called self-verification theory, the idea that humans unconsciously seek experiences that confirm their existing beliefs about themselves. If deep down you believe you don't deserve success, love, or happiness, you will unconsciously create situations that confirm that belief. not because you want to suffer, but because your brain is wired to maintain consistency, even painful consistency. And the fourth, and perhaps most surprising root cause, is the fear of success itself. Success means change. Success means new responsibilities. Success means people watching you, judging you, having expectations of you. Success means becoming someone you've never been before. And that unknown territory terrifies the brain. So the closer you get to something you've always wanted, the louder your brain screams, "Stop, go back, it's not safe." And without understanding this, you'll always retreat just before the breakthrough. All right, now we get to the part you've been waiting for. Because understanding the problem is powerful, but having the tools to change it, that's transformational. Let's go through 5 CBT-based techniques that actually work. Technique number 1 is called cognitive restructuring, and it's the foundation of CBT. It means identifying your distorted thoughts and actively challenging them. Here's how it works. When you catch yourself thinking something like, "I'm going to fail," stop. Ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, what is the evidence for this thought? Number 2, am I making an assumption or do I have actual facts? Number 3, what would I say to a friend who had this thought? Then reframe it. Replace "I'm going to fail" with "I might struggle. And struggling is how I grow. I've overcome hard things before." This isn't toxic positivity. This is evidence-based thinking. Technique 2, behavioral activation. This is based on a critical psychological insight. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You've been waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting to feel motivated. But here's the science. That feeling comes after you take action, not before. So break your goal into the smallest possible step. Not write a business plan, but open a document and write 1 sentence. Not go to the gym, but put on workout clothes. So small your brain can't argue with it. Then do it. Dopamine follows, and then the next step feels possible. Technique 3, mindfulness and pattern interruption. Now, I'm not asking you to meditate for an hour. I'm asking you to pause for 90 seconds. Here's why. Neuroscientist Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor discovered that the physiological lifespan of an emotion, the actual chemical reaction in your brain, is only 90 seconds. If you don't feed the thought, the chemical charge dissolves in 90 seconds. So when you feel the urge to self-sabotage, to quit, to retreat, to procrastinate, pause, name it. Say, "I notice I want to run right now." Just naming the pattern interrupts the automatic response. You go from being controlled by the feeling to observing it. Technique 4, gradual exposure. This is a core CBT method for overcoming fear. Instead of avoiding what scares you, you approach it in small, manageable doses. Scared of rejection? Send 1 cold email today. Scared of failure? Share 1 piece of work publicly. Scared of intimacy? Have 1 honest conversation. Each small act of courage rewires the amygdala, teaching it that this situation is not actually dangerous. Over time, and this is the beautiful part, what once triggered fear begins to feel neutral, then normal, then even exciting. Your brain literally learns that growth is safe. And technique 5, journaling. I know, it sounds simple, but research consistently shows that expressive writing activates the prefrontal cortex and helps regulate the amygdala. Every evening, ask yourself 3 questions. When did I avoid something today out of fear? What belief was driving that? And what would the version of me who isn't afraid do differently tomorrow? You are not just journaling, you are having a conversation with your subconscious mind. And over time, you begin to catch the patterns before they catch you. Before we close, I need to say something important, and I really need you to hear this. Everything you've done up until today, every time you held back, gave up, ran away, or got in your own way, that wasn't you being broken. That was you surviving with the tools you had. Your brain did what it learned to do. Your patterns were built to protect you. And for a long time, maybe they did. Dr. Kristen Neff, one of the world's leading researchers on self-compassion at the University of Texas, found something remarkable. Self-compassion, not self-criticism, is what actually leads to lasting behavioral change. When we beat ourselves up, we stay stuck. When we treat ourselves with the same kindness we'd show a good friend, we grow. So I want to give you a mantra, something to carry with you. Here it is. This is hard. It makes sense that I struggle with this, and I am doing the brave work of changing it. Say that to yourself tonight. Say it when you catch yourself in a pattern. Say it when you fall back into old habits. Because change is not linear. And the fact that you watched this entire video, the fact that you're even asking these questions about yourself, that is not nothing. That is everything. So let's do a quick recap of everything we covered today. Self-sabotage is not a character flaw. It's a neurological pattern rooted in fear, childhood conditioning, and the brain's need for predictability. We looked at 7 signs, from procrastination to perfectionism to pushing good things away. We explored the root causes, trauma, low self-worth, and even the fear of success itself. And we broke down 5 CBT-based tools you can start using today. But here's the most important thing I want you to leave with. Awareness is the beginning of everything. The moment you can see the pattern, you are no longer fully controlled by it. And that moment, it changes everything. If this video helped you, or if you recognized yourself somewhere in it, please hit subscribe. Every single week, I bring you psychology like this, real, research-backed, and practical. Hit the bell so you never miss it. And now I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me, which of the 7 signs hit closest to home for you? I read every single comment, and sometimes just naming it out loud is the first step.